Thank you for tuning in to this tutorial about mobility work in the forearms, wrists, hands, and fingers. We're going to start with some self-shiatsu, applying palm pressure to the forearms. Try and imagine dividing your forearm into 4 quadrants and applying pressure to each one. When applying pressure in this manner, try and lean into it and apply your body weight rather than using your arms and shoulders. When you get to the ulnar part of your arm, which is the line that would lead to your pinky, you can use your fingers like this, supporting with your palm. Working into the hand, we're just getting in between each carpal and metacarpal bone, which are the bones that lead to the base of the fingers. Try and just get in between each one and stimulate that tissue. We're also going to go on the pad of the thumb and just press into there a little bit. And the ulnar side of the hand, pressing in with the fingers. Speaking about fingers, we're just going to grab the pinky and give it a pull, and at the end of that pull we're just squeezing the corners of the base of the fingernail and pulling. Don't forget to do the other side, and if you're comfortable with the position, you can try using your knees for this as well. Again, if you're not comfortable with this position, don't even think about it, just do it the same way that you did the other arm. But if it is comfortable for you, this is a great way to apply relaxed weight. But you have to remember to relax into it once your knee is in position. Moving on from the self-shiatsu, we're going to get into a little bit of mobility work. So starting with the wrists, we're trying to keep the belly of our forearm facing up, so if there was something sitting on the forearm, it wouldn't roll off while we do this movement. Aside from that, we're trying to keep the palms facing up as much as possible, and we're trying to keep the fingers open so that all of this movement is coming from the wrist as much as possible and not the compensations. Make sure you go in both directions and keep your elbows close to your side. Next, we're going to work on the elbows, so flexing the arms and then pronating to face your palms down and extending your arms fully before turning your palms up. So make sure you're fully flexed before rotating and you're completely rotated before extending. Go through your full range of motion and then get down into a crawling position. If you're not comfortable for a crawl, I've got an alternative for you, just stay tuned. But if you are, try and keep your fingers spread and your weight evenly distributed. So we're going forward and backwards in the comfortable range of motion. If you feel discomfort in your wrist or pinching or anything, back it up and just work in the comfortable range. So aside from forward and back, we're also going to go side to side, and we're reaching not only the shoulders but also the hips towards the same side for this one. So if it's a little too much for your wrists, you can bring your hands a little bit closer to your knees like this, and that takes some of the pressure off of your hands and wrists. Gives a little bit more of it to your lower body. So here I'm going in circles instead of just going forward and back or side to side. So even in a crawling position, you can also do it like this as well. And if kneeling is really tough for you and you just do not feel comfortable in your ankles or knees, you can do it standing, leaning onto a chair like this. So again, doing the circles, this allows me to control how much weight I'm going to put onto my hands, and it also lets me keep my legs straight so that I'm not challenging my mobility of my lower body while I'm trying to work on my upper body. So if you're not comfortable with crawling, you can do any of the crawling positions on the chair or with your hands closer to your knees, but I'm going to demonstrate this one in the regular crawling position where we're going diagonal. So forward, backwards, side to side, circles, and diagonals for this one. Next, we're going to do these little kind of palm push-ups. So you're pressing up off of your palm and into your knuckles. Yeah, don't try that little hop just yet, unless you're really comfortable with that, but you can try pushing up into the tips of your fingers slowly. Come down with control. I'd recommend alternating, doing a few palm raises and then a couple of finger raises, getting up on those fingertips. You can do a few in a row once you get comfortable with that. And if you can do the hop without it hurting your wrist or hand, you can do a few of those in a row as well. And again, you can do all those exercises on the chair if you need to. Okay, and here we're just going to get the wrists and fingers going for our last mobility exercise. So rotating the hand, opening it out, and fanning the fingers open. Keeping the hand extended and rolling the fingers in. So you extend your wrist and forearm, fan your fingers out, and keep your wrist extended while you roll them back in. When you're rotating your wrist in this one, you're flexing your forearm. Okay, so now we're going to get into a few stretches. Grabbing the hand and not supporting the wrist too much. You're just going to get into this position, letting the elbows drop and raising the arm. You want to make sure that you're keeping your hand close to your body for this one. Now we're just going to use your thumb to hold the meat of your pinky. I'm going to get into a little bit more detail with these ones. With this one, you're holding the meat of your thumb with your fingers. We're going to do both sides, and I'll give you a little more detail about this one on the other side. Okay, so you're holding the meat of your thumb and applying your palm pressure to the back. Yep. Once you're there, you're kind of letting your wrist go down. You're not fanning your arms out like I just did. You're keeping them close to your body. And now we're going to grab the thumb. So holding the thumb with the hand and then wrapping the fingers around the wrist. So the idea is to try and pull the thumb to the wrist. Be gentle with this because it's easy to go a little bit too far. Good. And now we're just going to grab the fingers and extend. So I've got really flexible fingers. Don't beat yourself up if you can't get into it like that. The important thing is just to make as much space between your fingertips and the belly of your forearm as possible. So grabbing the thumb and pulling it out in the same direction. So once again, you're just wrapping your fingers around your fingers and pushing your palm out in front of you. And you're holding the thumb and pretty much getting into exactly the same position. It's just you're holding your thumb instead of your fingers. Be gentle with this one as well. Alright, thank you very much. That's all for today, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.